Good morning. I'm Ms. Stanfield Griffin, the assistant principal. Welcome parents, family, friends, and TBK8 Tigers to our STEM Student of the Month award ceremony for the month of May. We are so happy and excited that you could join us today as we celebrate our Tigers who have demonstrated the STEM trait of being reflective. Today, I'd like to introduce some of the people who make this event possible. Of course, first I would like to introduce Ms. Timonella, our STEM coordinator. She puts a lot of work and time and effort into making this event occur today. I would like to also thank our counselors, our school counselors, Ms. Amy Kay, Ms. Wonderly, Ms. Bell, who's not in here right now, she was. Ms. Knoll, and Ms. Downing. And I would also like to thank Mr. McGregor for being our videographer. So not do this at home. He's not setting a very good example today. He's standing on the table. So this year, our theme as a school is leading everyone in growth opportunities. The acronym for which is LEGO. Because we believe that it takes everyone in the school community to learn and grow, we have utilized this theme in conjunction with our STEM traits. Each trait is represented by a LEGO figurine who exemplifies the STEM trait. May's STEM trait of being reflected is represented on the student certificates by a LEGO figurine representing a counselor. Counselors are natural reflectors. To be reflective, one must look back at the things that have been done or said in order to think calmly and quietly about them. This reflective process leads to creative solutions. Counselors use reflection to help others think about their actions and work through the problems. This is why a counselor LEGO minifigure is represented on this month's STEM certificates. Today, we honor all of our Tigers who have demonstrated their reflective nature at TBK8. Thank you all for being the models of internal thinking and metacognition in your daily learning. I would now like to welcome Ms. Wonderly, one of our counselors, to stage to MC Awards.
Good morning. So, boys and girls, the way that this is going to work is you had two pieces of paper. One is taped to your chair and one was loose on your chair. The loose one I need you to bring with you when you come up on stage so that I am sure to read the right information that your teacher wrote about you. I wish I could say I made up everything about me, but I'm not that. So when you come up, you're going to come up and hand me the paper so that I have the right name. You come across, you're going to shake Ms. Tumanella's hand. She has some stuff for you. You're going to shake Ms. Stanfield Griffin's hand. She has some things for you. And then the whole grade level is going to stay on stage, and there'll be an opportunity to take some pictures, and then Ms. Bell will help you down the stage on the other side. So without further ado, we're going to start with pre-K. I think they're coming around the corner. Giuseppe is our Reflective STEM Student of the Month for his continuous reflection of new material he has learned. He is always thinking about things we are learning in class and asking further questions about it. He applies the previously learned information to new learning experiences daily. And this is Enzo. Enzo is a sweet and curious little boy who enjoys coming to school each day. He can be described as a very observant student who often explores his environment and watches his peers and teachers. He enjoys working on academic activities and demonstrating his skills. He is very detail-oriented in all of his work. We are so proud of the progress he has made and look forward to his future accomplishments. All right, and pre-K parents, you can come closer for a picture at this time. In kindergarten, I need you to stand. Make sure you bring your paper. Kindergarten, stand up. Look at Miss Kay. She's going to show you how to get up on stage. As we start moving through these, I'm going to ask that you hold applause till the end of the grade level so we can get through everybody. Alan is going to start us off. For kindergarten, Alan does a great job of answering questions and talking about why things happen. Ryan is a student who looks back on his work and takes his time to better his learning. He reflects on questions that are asked in class and tries to make connections. He is always doing his best and such a thoughtful learner. Krish is our May STEM Student of the Month because he is a careful observer and reflective on our classroom and his choices. Luna works very hard to do all of her work. She reflects quietly to find the best answer to any questions and does not hesitate to give her opinion. She has come a long way this year and we are very proud of her. Evan is an excellent example of a reflective student because he continues to show amazing growth by reflecting on his learning and focusing on his goals. He has made great strides in reading this year and we love having him in our class. Elizabeth is a reflective thinker in class. She takes her time to try to understand things that are happening in the world around her. She takes pride in her work, figures out new ways to improve her academics, and is thoughtful towards others. Kazili is a reflective person. She will thoughtfully review new ideas. She usually discusses her thoughts with her peers and encourages them to share their reflections. We enjoy being reflective thinkers and learners. Thank you for inspiring us. And this is Griffin. Griffin is such a kind and hardworking student in the classroom. I know I can count on him to make positive choices for himself and when working with others. He does a great job thinking outside the box and discovering new ways to continue to grow and learn. And these are our kindergarten students of the month. Kindergarten parents, feel free to come closer for a picture at this time. And first grade, look to Miss Kay. She's going to help you get up on stage. Okay, here comes first grade. Starting us off, we have Ritwik. Ritwik is very reflective. He is a thinker. He gives thoughtful responses in writing and speaking in class. Ramika is such a hard worker who can apply her background knowledge to her new learning and make connections. After each activity, she is great on reflecting and showing what she has learned, whether it's sharing in class, writing it down, or working on her exit ticket. Gianna is reflective of herself in her work. When faced with difficulty, she is able to reflect and uses strategies to solve her problems. She uses reflection to grow as a peer and a learner. Kaylin is a great reflector. She is always thinking about how she can help make things better or even just improve on her own. We're so proud of you. Azan takes time to think things through. He reflects on his choices, good and bad, and determines how he can do better in the future. He considers the facts and makes decisions based on those facts. Sebastian has been reflective in the classroom all year. He is thoughtful with his work and always tries his best. He thinks about how to make things better and ways to improve. Keep up the good work, Sebastian. Gianni reflects on his work and looks for ways to make it better. He analyzes the information and makes changes accordingly. He strives to be the best at everything he does. Brody is always reflecting about his work. He will mention how next time he will be sure to do it this way or that way. He stops and thinks about what he can do to improve his work. Advika is a very reflective student. She makes good choices and helps others make them too. She looks back and checks what she did to make sure it's exactly what is expected of her. She has taught others to do the same thing too. Thank you for being a reflective learner. Thomas is reflective in his thinking. He takes his time when explaining his thoughts and is very thorough in his explanations. He thinks carefully and he wants to change his thinking. He explains why. And these are our first grade students of the month. First grade parents, you may come closer for a picture at this time. Second grade, if you would stand, bring your name card, and look to Miss Kay. She's going to help you get up on stage. Okay, we're going to start with second grade. Grishma is a hardworking, bright student who is always willing to help others. Brandon is a great example of someone who is reflective. He makes sure that he thinks things through and is always willing to go back and reflect on his work. We are so happy to have such a hard thinker as part of our class family. Sari is such a sweet and thoughtful student. She always thinks about what she says and does and finds ways to improve every day. Thank you for being such a reflective student. You are a wonderful role model. Alina is often reflective within her academic areas of study and building and maintaining positive relationships with her peers. She is receptive to feedback and learning opportunities throughout her day and continues to strive to be the best student and friend she can be. Amari does a fabulous job at reflecting. He welcomes mistakes as a way to learn and improve. He celebrates his achievements and always tries to be the best he can be. Ethan is the May Student of the Month. He has demonstrated that he is reflective by thinking carefully about his responses before sharing them in class and also by responding reflectively to feedback. Bodhi is a reflective student because he is able to reach back into previous topics. He has learned about and made connections to new topics. He shares his reflections and connections with his classmates to elevate their level of learning as well. Caleb is receiving this award because he's always thinking about his work and how he can improve. He asks thoughtful questions about assignments and the world around him. It has been a joy to have him in my class. Shadia is a wonderfully pensive in all that she does. She considers the feelings of everyone around her as she reflects on her own learning. She is always looking to improve and grow. She thinks through every decision and gives great consideration to others before she acts. She is a joy to have in class. She is easy to talk with and always fun to teach. And these are our second grade students of the month. Second grade parents, feel free to come closer for a picture at this time. And third grade, if you would stand and take your name card and look to Ms. Kay. She's going to help you get up on stage. All right, before we get started with second grade, we have a pre-K student. This is Haley. Haley is kind and thoughtful to her classmates, always finding ways to help. Haley is a problem solver and peacemaker, listening to peers and offering ideas to resolve conflict. She is a kind and caring friend. Way to go, Haley. Let's give Haley a round of applause. We have one more pre-K student to recognize. Saria is a sweet and loving little boy who is a valued member of our classroom. Throughout the school day, he likes to observe his peers and teachers as he engages in learning activities. He likes to be very thoughtful and precise when completing academic tasks. We are so proud of him and look forward to his continued growth and development. Let's give him a hand. All right, on to all right, here comes third grade. Make sure we get the right grade level. This is Eva starting us out. Eva is our STEM student of the month because of her insightful reflection. She is a thoughtful learner with a very sweet smile who always looks to her ways to improve and help others. Roman is a wonderful example of a student of the month. One of his greatest qualities is that he is reflective. He is always thinking about discussions, ideas, and work that takes place in the classroom. Then he goes back to improve, correct, and modify those things. He is polite and respectful to both his peers and adults. Caleb is a very sweet student who has made tremendous progress and growth this school year. He tends to be reflective when he completes assignments in class and even on assessments. Whenever he is off task with friends, which seldom happens, he reflects on his decisions and quickly turns it around. Aiden deserves our STEM Student of the Month award for being reflective. He is always willing to share his knowledge in our various sport and fitness units. He is self-guided when contemplating different strategies to challenge himself and others throughout physical education. He's a wonderful team player and always comes to PE with a positive attitude. Third grade has not been easy for Lily. She consistently works hard and tries her best each day. When an answer doesn't seem right, she is good at looking back and reflecting on her response and figuring out where she made her mistake. She also helps other classmates by using accountable talk and asking questions to help her learn. Christopher is a pleasure to have in class this year. He has been working very hard and reflects over his work before he turns it in. This is helping to make sure he is getting the correct answers. He takes the time to see what he wrote and reflects on his responses. He looks over the writing pieces and reflects on the teacher's comments from writing conferences to see what he can improve or change. Casey is thoughtful as a person and a student. He is intentional in his words and actions just as he is responsible when it comes to his stellar academics. He is always working to achieve more. He is polite and he is the definition of a role model. Caden is reflective in every subject area. He consistently self-evaluates and takes feedback into consideration when reflecting on his work in order to do the very best he can. Milan has really flourished this year. She has taken in all of the lessons taught and has applied them to every aspect of her life. We are so proud of you. Sarah is reflective. She always takes the time to analyze situations or problems before addressing, and upon receiving feedback on graded assignments or any task performed, it is normal for Sarah to ask questions about any mistakes made to clear up misunderstanding. Doing so usually helps her avoid making the same mistakes in the future. She is receiving the Student of the Month award for reflective because she accepts constructive criticism, thinks through how she performed, and uses all factors presented to make her an overall better student. If we were describing a DP in terms of a character in a book, we would say that she is rounded and dynamic. In real life, this tiny little person is a math whiz, a positive classroom role model, sociable, and has a curiosity and thirst for knowledge beyond her years in multiple subjects. She possesses many character traits. However, one that might get overlooked is that she is reflective. From demonstrating her natural curiosity around the world to wondering about possibilities in math and science, she reflects around her world all the time. And these are our third grade students of the month. Third grade parents, feel free to come closer for a picture at this time. And fourth grade, if you would stand and take your name cards with you. Arush is definitely showing reflective thinking. His thoughts will turn an idea over in his mind and he will give it serious consideration. He loves to learn by investigating and structuring things by himself. Let's try it out and see if it works, just to quote him. In addition to taking the time to reflect on ways to improve and grow academically, Brianna takes the time needed to reflect on how she can be a better friend to all her peers. She is kind-hearted and always reflects on how her actions impact others. Beyond is our Student of the Month for reflective. She takes time to learn from her mistakes so she can grow as a student. She often reflects on how she could have done tasks differently if mistakes are made so she can advance in her learning. Sanaya is very reflective when analyzing her work and responding to the work of her classmates. We can always count on her to be willing to verbally show her thinking. She is purposeful, reasoned, and goal-directed in her responses. Kaylee was nominated by her class for being an excellent student who knows the STEM characteristic of reflective. She is a student who is self-aware and takes her time to explain and address her strengths and weaknesses. She uses the critical thinking skills needed to build upon previous learning and experience. Our class has chosen Sophia for our Reflective STEM Student of the Month because she is thoughtful and insightful. She is always helping others come up with fair solutions to problems posed through her reflections. Sophia takes a completed task and reflects on ways to make improvement in the classroom. We're so proud to have her represent our classroom as our Reflective STEM student. Josie has demonstrated a reflective mindset by thinking about how she is doing in math and science and then making changes to improve her grades. On numerous occasions, she has reached out and enlisted the help of her friends in order to accomplish her goals. Most importantly, as a result of her reflective attitude, she has improved both her math and science grades. And these are our 4th grade students of the month. Fourth grade family and friends, feel free to come closer for a picture at this time. And 5th grade, if you would stand, bring your name card and look to Miss Kay. She's going to help you get up on stage. All right, 5th grade, we have Cole starting us off. Cole is always putting thought into what he needs to do to become more successful. He thinks about what could be done to improve and does it. Victoria is always thoughtful and is an amazing addition to our class. Her reflective nature is demonstrated through her writing. Sohan never takes a lesson at face value. He always dives deeper to understand concepts on a more complicated level. He impresses me with his tenacity to be the master of his own learning. Being reflective is just natural for him. My hope for him is that he continues on with this same focus so he may achieve his dreams. Drishti shows great reflective traits in all areas of the school. She reflects in every subject and even reflects during her music performances. The best part of her reflecting is that she remains positive throughout her reflections. Riley has worked very hard this year in Bengal Beat. She auditioned for the All-County Honors Drumming Ensemble and was one of the 40 students selected across the entire district. As a part of receiving this honor, she knew she had to work on focus during rehearsal. She put a lot of effort into this endeavor, and even the conductor at All-County told me that she even noticed how focused she was during rehearsal and was an excellent member of the ensemble. Elijah's peers voted for him for reflective because he always tells me what I did wrong in math class. During group or partner work, he will agree with me and reflect on his answer. In class, Elijah has been reflective, connecting past science labs and lessons to current ones, and even connects lessons in science to reading. Olympia is very reflective when it comes to her academics. She takes the time to fully understand each task she is assigned, and she asks clarifying questions if necessary. When her work is complete, she always reviews it before turning it in to make sure she has done her very best. Keep up the great work. Emilio was chosen by his classmates at the STEM Student of the Month for character trait of reflective. In class, Emilio will reflect on his answers and ask questions if something isn't correct. If there is something that isn't working right during the science investigation, Emilio will work with his group to try and figure out a better solution. He is a great role model for others in class. Keegan has been thoughtful about his past efforts and how it has taught him what he now knows. Keegan thinks about his calmly about solutions to his problems and how he might think win-win to make all parties happy with the decision being made. We're so proud of Keegan's work this year and excited to nominate him for Student of the Month for being reflective. Alani has shown tremendous growth this year. She has continually improved her academics. She gravitates to others that strive for the same high standards and has proven to be a leader. She uses mistakes as a turning point to reach higher levels of understanding. Abigail is always willing to reflect on the day, week, and month that she has had. She is reflective on what she has been successful with and how to continue to make the most of each day that she is given. We are very blessed to have her in our class. Many other students have been able to follow her example. And these are our 5th grade students of the class. Okay, 5th grade parents, feel free to come closer for a picture. And 6th grade, if you would take your name tags and look to Miss Kay. Starting out in middle school, we have Alejandro. Alejandro is extremely thoughtful when completing assignments and interacting with his classmates. His ability to reflect on his work and make adjustments next time to show improvement is what helps him to be so successful in 6th grade. She is a great asset to the class. Julia takes time with those students who need help after completing their work. She also keeps her group on task and is a friend to many. Daniel is nominated for our Character of the Month Reflective Award because he always connects new learning to background knowledge. He connects information and shares relevant information that contributes to our discussions. Lucas is a very pensive young man. He loves to discuss his athletic encounters, not only our activities in PE, but his sports outside of school. He is always thinking about ways to improve his performance and experience in sports. Carter is very reflective. He thinks about his performance and how he can improve. He takes metacognition to a whole new level. Liliana has demonstrated a reflective attitude throughout the school year. She regularly analyzes her work to learn from her mistakes and to find ways to improve. This trait has resulted in her continuing to achieve academic success. When given an assignment, Charlie will think about how to tackle it successfully. If the first way isn't working, he isn't afraid to reflect and try again. Nathan is always very conscientious about his work and thinks of ways to improve his work. He is a pleasure to have in class. Cheyenne has great insight due to taking the time to carefully think about her math work. She consistently ponders over her answers before she offers information to the class or to her group. She's always willing to reflect back on her prior knowledge and apply it to new situations. Tamar is a wonderful student. She works hard to correct her mistakes and learn from them. She is always willing to help out a fellow classmate whenever needed. And these are our 6th grade students of the month. Sixth grade parents, feel free to come closer for a picture. And 7th grade, if you would take your name tags and look to Miss Kay, she will help you get up on stage. All right, starting us off in 7th grade is Joseph. Joseph is an extremely reflective student due to his ability to find areas of improvement within his own work without waiting for the teacher to direct him. Joseph knows there's always better and strives to achieve it. Hillary exemplifies reflectiveness on a weekly basis throughout the year. She is able to pick out her strengths and weaknesses in a unit of study and is reflective when it comes time to study what she really needs to improve on. Her ability to reflect on her performance has allowed her to be very successful in math this year. Her bright smile and personality is reflective of a positive attitude. Darnisha always has a smile to share. She is able to work through any situation and is persistent enough to make sure the job gets done. Japsy exemplifies the characteristics of reflective. She carefully takes her time and thinks things through before proceeding. This important action allows her to be more successful in all that she does. Matthew is always working to improve his skills. He has embraced the design process and takes the evaluation/reflective step to the process seriously. Andrew is always engaged in class activities and works to better himself. He always asks questions and self-assesses and reflects to help improve on skills in PE. Nicholas is an exceptional student. He puts effort into learning and learns from his mistakes. He deserves this award because he always tries his best and reflects anything he does wrong or right. We might all reflect, but Nick learns from his mistakes and changes them into better qualities. Logan is such a great young man. He always looks at ways to make our class and shows run smoothly. Logan is always there and eager to lend a helping hand. Isabel spends a large quantity of time thinking and reflecting on her work and how it can be the best possible. She remains very quiet during class, but her written work shows evidence of a thoughtful young lady who makes sure she is passing in the She's the thoughtful young lady who makes sure she is passing in the best possible work. And these are our 7th grade students. Okay, 7th grade parents, feel free to come closer. And 8th grade, please take your name tags and you can head on up. All right, 8th grade, Serenity is starting us off. Serenity is always reflecting on situations that come up in both school and home. She understands that sometimes there are no easy answers, just tough questions. Keep up the good work, Serenity. Jaleel has made the most progress compared to the rest of the students in my class. I've seen him develop from a student with little participation and motivation to one of my top performers and academic achievers. He has demonstrated an ability to reflect on his own actions for the best results. There is no one more deserving for this last and final award. If Alex does not succeed, he will practice until he has perfected the task. He reflects on his mistakes and strives to make it better. His desire is to master every challenge. Stay focused next year and reach for the stars. Rebecca is quiet and introspective. While this might seem by others as a negative characteristic, particularly teachers that try to pry answers and questions from students. It is actually a very important trait. Through quiet introspection or reflection, a person learns a deeper truth about themselves and those things that they learn. Gabriella consistently reflects whenever she gets an assignment back. Rather than accepting an incorrect answer, she always comes to me and asks why she missed the question and how she can fix it. Colby is a very reflective student. She's always making connections to previously covered content or current events. She doesn't just try to understand the what happened, but likes to focus on the why it happened. Colby was a wonderful student to have this year. Juan thinks things through. He also enjoys learning and listening to others. This trait helps Juan to always know what is going on around him. Juan is always after the pursuit of knowledge, evidence, and truth. Being reflective will definitely help him to achieve his dream to become an Air Force pilot. Gabby is a reflective student. She is thoughtful in her actions and dedicated to always improving. Kiara is very in touch with her performance in my class. Her reflection on guitar playing and her interactions with others sets the foundation for her success as a musician. Bruce actively participates in self-directed activities and reflects on his progress to improve his math skills. He regularly reflects to analyze his math work, which helps him to ask meaningful questions and contribute to class discussions. John is receiving this award for his ability to be highly reflective in a classroom setting. In all paths of life, individuals are required to learn from past mistakes and to use them to forge a new path forward. John has shown a remarkable ability to learn from these mistakes and not only apply their lessons in the immediate term, but also to establish long-term habits of mind for future successes. In all STEM fields, whether it be engineering, technology, or all forms of science, learning and being reflective is often cited as the most important skill. And these are our 8th grade students in class. 8th grade parents, you can come closer for a picture at this time. And I'm also going to call Ms. Lamb I'm going to call Ms. Lamb to the podium to just recognize just a few more.
So I need Ms. Dudley, Mr. Ramo, Mr. Hatstat, Ms. Bell, and Ms. Webb up here. I'm going to start with Ms. Webb. Ms. Webb these are all our teachers, administration, our non-instructional of the month that we've recognized for being reflective. Ms. Webb is a dedicated paraprofessional that works with our exceptional student population. The amount of care and compassion she has for our students is remarkable. Ms. Webb has to make critical decisions moment to moment and consistently reflects on how best to meet each student's needs. We are so thankful for her and proud to call her a TBK8 Tiger. Ms. Bell. Ms. Bell is the person we go to whenever we need an honest opinion about things. She is able to provide reflective feedback and assist in coming up with suggestions as to how to improve things. She's reflective in her day-to-day practices and uses her interactions with students and adults to help her improve her skill set and counseling techniques. Thank you, Mrs. Bell. Mr. Hadstadt. Mr. Hadstadt is always looking for ways to improve his instruction and to enhance student learning. He seeks out feedback and works hard not only to make his class memorable, but to ensure that each student learns the most important parts of our history. I have had the honor of reading student testimonials from past alumni of TBK8, and believe me, Mr. Hadstadt has reason to be proud of his accomplishments. It is clear that Mr. Hadstadt is a very reflective teacher and strives to improve his practice regularly. Thanks for all you do for our students, Mr. Hadstadt. Mrs. Durano. She is the type of teacher that reflects on her teaching and her students' learning and makes adjustments as needed. I know she has worked very hard with one particular student this year, made adjustments as she reflected on her teaching, and followed up with the parent to show the students' growth all year. Thank you, Mr. Ramo. And finally, Mrs. Dudley. In education, we are constantly reflecting on what went well and what we could do to make things better. Mrs. Dudley is constantly reflecting on teaching, best practice, pedagogy, and what's best for her students. She is open to conversations about her lessons and sharing with colleagues what went well and ways to do her lessons better for her current students. Thank you, Mrs. Dudley, for being such an asset to TBK8. Anyone who wants to take a picture? Thank you.